I can. I'll be your husband, and you will obey me.
Do not scroll. The most interesting part is ahead. Subscribe, give it a like, and leave a comment. Eliza stood in the corner of the kitchen, clutching her apron. Voices drifted through the window, men's voices, confident, the kind that do not tolerate objections. "It is decided," her father said. She did not cry. The tears had run out the night before, when her mother told her the news. Now there was only emptiness. "Eliza!" Her mother's voice sliced through the silence. "They are waiting." She walked slowly into the parlor. There, by the table, sat 5 elders in black hats. Among them was Bishop Miller, a man with a face carved from stone, and beside him, without looking at her, stood his son, Jonas Miller, 22 years old, broad-shouldered from farm work, his gaze hidden somewhere beneath the brim of his hat. She had seen him before at worship services, at communal workdays, but had never spoken with him for longer than 2 sentences. "Come here, child," the bishop said with a nod. Eliza stepped closer, feeling as if her feet were stuck to the floor. Jonas lifted his eyes for a moment, no more. There was something in them she could not read. Anger, despair, indifference. "Marriage strengthens the community," the bishop began, his voice filling the room. "Your families have long served the Lord. This union is our will and his blessing." Eliza clenched her teeth. Their will, not hers, not his. "The wedding will be in 2 weeks," her father added. "Prepare the house, Eliza. You will become Jonas Miller's wife." She wanted to shout that she already had someone, that her heart belonged to Luke, the young man who had left the community 3 years ago, but had given her his address, that she had promised to wait for him. But the words stuck in her throat, because in this house, in this community, her wishes meant nothing. Jonas stood motionless. When the elders rose to go, he finally spoke. "May I speak with her, alone?" The bishop frowned. "Why?" "If we are to marry, I need to know with whom I will share a roof." The pause stretched. At last, the bishop nodded. 5 minutes, on the porch. They stood on the porch, and a chasm yawned between them. "I did not want this," Jonas said quietly. Eliza turned to him. His face was tense, his jaw clenched. "Then why did you not tell them no?" "And you?" She fell silent. He was right. "I have someone," she exhaled at last. Jonas raised his eyebrows. "That English man, Luke, using the word English the way their community does for any outsider." She flinched. "How did you?" "I saw you crying in the graveyard last month, and I heard your voice when you prayed. You were not calling to God. You were calling to him." Eliza felt her cheeks burn. "That is none of your business." "It is mine now." He stepped closer. "In 2 weeks, you will be my wife, and if you think I will let him come for you afterward, you are mistaken. You cannot command me. I can. I will be your husband, and you will obey me as the Lord commands." She struck him, not hard, but enough to snap his head to the side. Jonas went still, then slowly turned back to her. Something dark flashed in his eyes. "Do that again," he said softly, dangerously softly, "and I will bring you before the elders. They will summon your Luke, they will judge him, and you will never hear his name again. You. I am protecting myself, and you as well, even if you do not understand that." He turned and walked away, leaving her on the porch, shaking with anger and something else, fear of what lay ahead. That evening, Eliza sat in her room, staring at the little scrap of paper hidden under the mattress. Luke's address. She could go, run. But if she ran, the community would cast out her family. Her father would lose respect. Her mother would lose her friends. And if she stayed, she would lose herself. "Eliza," her mother entered without knocking. "You must sew a new dress for the wedding." "I do not want this wedding." "Child," her mother sat beside her. "Love comes with time. Jonas is a good boy. His father is a tyrant, and Jonas is his mirror image." Her mother sighed. "You speak like that because you do not know him. Give him a chance." And what if I do not want to? Her mother was silent for a long time. Then she placed a hand on Eliza's shoulder. Then you will be unhappy, but you will be alive, within the community, with us. And that is the only thing that matters. When her mother left, Eliza pulled her sketchbook from beneath the bed. Drawing was forbidden by the community because images distract from God. But she could not keep from drawing. It was the only thing that kept her afloat. She drew Luke's face from memory. Then, without knowing why, she began to draw Jonah's, his angry eyes, his clenched jaw, his hands trembling as he fought to hold his anger in. She did not understand him, but something about him frightened her more than the forced marriage itself. He was in a cage too, and he seemed ready to tear it apart. 2 weeks passed like smoke. Eliza did not see Jonas. Luke did not come, although she had sent him a letter. Perhaps he had not received it. Perhaps he no longer cared. The morning of the wedding was gray. The sky was overcast, and the air was heavy, waiting for a storm. Eliza stood before the mirror, the only one in the house, small and cracked. Her dress was simple, blue cloth, a white apron, a black kerchief. Her mother braided her hair so tightly that her temples ached. "Are you ready?" her mother asked. Eliza did not answer. The ceremony lasted 3 hours. The bishop spoke of duty, of submission, of how a woman must be the shadow of her husband and a man the head of the household. Eliza did not listen. She looked at Jonas, standing beside her, straight as a post. He did not look at her. When it was time for vows, the bishop asked, "Jonas Miller, do you take this woman as your wife, to lead her in the Lord's way?" "Yes." Jonas's voice was firm, without hesitation. "Eliza Fisher, do you take this man as your husband, to obey him and to serve him?" Eliza remained silent. The hall froze. Her mother squeezed her hand. "Eliza," her mother whispered. "Yes," she breathed at last. And in that moment something broke inside her. For good. The wedding meal was modest bread, cheese, boiled vegetables. Eliza sat at the table, surrounded by people offering congratulations, but their voices blended into a single hum. Jonas sat beside her, silent, eating slowly, not looking at her. When evening came, the guests began to leave. Her mother hugged Eliza. Her father nodded. Bishop Miller came up to Jonas, whispered something to him, and Jonas clenched his teeth but nodded. Then they were alone, in Jonas's house, now their house. The house was small, clean, bare. A kitchen, a sitting room, one bedroom upstairs. Eliza stood in the middle of the kitchen, unsure what to do. Jonas came in and closed the door. "You can sleep in the bedroom," he said. "I will take the sofa here." She turned to him. "Why?" "Because I will not touch you until you want me to." "And if I never want that?" He looked at her, and there was something like pain in his eyes. "Perhaps never, but I do not care. I will not force you." "Your father, my father will not know what happens within these walls." He walked past her, and Eliza caught the scent of wood and earth, the smell of his work. He stopped by the stairs. "You hate me," he said quietly. "I understand that, but I did not want this any more than you did." He went up to the second floor, leaving her alone. That night Eliza did not sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, and she could hear Jonas turning on the sofa downstairs. Around midnight, she heard him step out onto the porch. She went to the window. He stood there, looking out at the fields, and his shoulders shook. Was he crying? Eliza could not be sure. She felt a stab of guilt. He was a victim too, just like her. But that did not make the marriage real. It did not make her less alone. The first days were a hell of silence. They did not speak. Jonas left at dawn to work and returned at dusk, ate without a word, and lay down on the sofa. Eliza cooked, cleaned, and tried not to look at him. But one evening, as she set the table, Jonas suddenly spoke. "Why are you not eating?" She flinched. "I am not hungry." "You have not eaten for 3 days. I notice." "That is none of your business." "It is mine now," he said, standing. If you decide to starve yourself, the community will blame me. Then tell them the truth. Tell them I find you repulsive." He moved toward her quickly, and she backed into the wall. He stopped a step away, tall, threatening. "Am I repulsive to you?" His voice was quiet, but there was anger in it. "I am the one who gives you a roof. I am the one who does not touch you. I am the one who lies to my own father to protect you, and you call me repulsive. You say you are doing this for me, but you are really doing it for yourself." She shoved his chest. "You are afraid of your father. You are afraid of the community." His hand closed around her wrist hard, to the point of pain. "Yes, I am afraid, because if they find out that I do not want to be here, if they find out that I want to run, they will destroy me, and you as well if you stand in my way." She froze. "You want to run?" He released her and stepped back. "Forget what I said. Jonas, never repeat that to anyone." He walked out, leaving her trembling. That night Eliza could not sleep. She thought about his words. She went downstairs. Jonas was awake. He sat at the table in the light of a candle, writing in a notebook. "What is that?" she asked. He snapped the notebook shut. "Nothing." "Jonas." I said nothing. But she had already stepped closer and taken the notebook. He did not resist. She opened the page. There were words, not prayers, not poems. They were dreams. California, the ocean, freedom. No one knows my name. I am not the bishop's son. I am just Jonas, and I am alive. Eliza slowly lifted her eyes. "Have you been writing this for a long time?" "Since I was 16. "Why did you not run?" He laughed short and bitter. "Because I am a coward, because I cannot do it alone." She sat across from him. "If I help you, will you help me?" He frowned. "What do you mean?" "Luke wrote to me. Today, he wants me to come to him, to Philadelphia." Jonas's face darkened. "And you want to go to him?" "Yes." "Then go." "But if I go, the community will punish my family. If I go with you, if we both run, they will think it was our shared failing. Your father will not be able to blame only me." Jonas was silent for a long time. "You want to use me as cover?" "Yes." "And then you will go to Luke?" "Yes." He stood so abruptly that his chair crashed to the floor. "No." "Jonas." I said no. He slammed his fist on the table. "I will not be your tool. If you want him, go on your own. But do not ask me to help you destroy what little I have left inside me." He went out into the night, and Eliza was left alone, realizing she had done something irreparable. The days that followed were worse. Jonas was almost never home. He worked in the fields until dark, then rode to the neighbors to help them. Eliza stayed alone. She began to draw, but for some reason her hand kept drawing Jonas again and again, his sorrowful gaze, his clenched fists, his back bent under the weight of something unseen. One evening a storm began. Lightning split the sky, thunder shook the walls. Eliza sat in the kitchen, trembling. She had always been afraid of storms. The door creaked. Jonas came in, soaked through. He stopped when he saw her. "You are afraid." It was not a question. She nodded. He sighed, took off his hat, and hung up his coat. "I will calm the horses. They are frightened too." He went back out, and Eliza felt something like gratitude. He had remembered her fear. When he returned, she had already brewed tea. He sat across from her and accepted the cup. "Thank you," he said quietly. They sat in silence, listening to the storm. Then Jonas spoke. "I have been thinking about what you said." Eliza looked up. "About running away?" "Yes, and you are right. If we run together, they will divide the blame. But I will not do it for you and Luke." "Then for what?" "For myself, I want to run. I always have. But if I go alone, I will not survive the loneliness. I need someone who understands what it is to leave everything." Eliza nodded slowly. And when will we run? In a month, at the fair in Lancaster. There will be a crowd, and no one will notice us. And after that, you will go to Luke, and I will go west. And we will never see each other again. Yes. Something tightened in her chest, but she did not know what it was. The next morning, they began to plan. Jonas took out the money he had saved for years, hiding it from his father. Eliza packed her things, not much, only the essentials and her drawings. But something changed between them. They began to talk. Not much, but enough. He told her about his father, how he beat him for the smallest mistakes, how he forced him to preach even though Jonas hated it. She told him about Luke, how they met, how he promised to take her away, how they would be free. One evening, as they sat on the porch, Jonas asked, "Do you love him?" Eliza hesitated. "I think so. I do not know what love is." "I do not know either." He looked at her. "But if you love him, why are you here?" "Because I am afraid." "Of what?" "That he will disappoint me, that he is not the person I remember." Jonas nodded. "Then both of us are running from fear." "Perhaps." They sat in silence, and Eliza suddenly thought, what if she did not want to go to Luke? What if she wanted to stay with Jonas? But she pushed the thought away. It was absurd. The 8th Sunday of their marriage arrived. The community began to whisper, why was Eliza not pregnant yet? Jonas's mother came to visit, her gaze cold. "Are you doing your duty?" she asked Eliza when Jonas stepped outside. Eliza did not know how to answer. "If he is not touching you," Jonas's mother continued, "that is a sin. A marriage must be consummated." Eliza could not form a lie. Jonas's mother narrowed her eyes. "I will tell the bishop. He needs to know." When she left, Eliza rushed to Jonas. "Your mother suspects." "I know." "What do we do?" Jonas was silent for a long time. "We must convince them that we are a real couple." "How?" He looked at her, and she saw pain in his eyes. "We must share a bed, at least tonight. My mother will come early tomorrow. She always does when she suspects something. She will check." Eliza felt her heart pound. "But I will not touch you. I will only sleep beside you. That is all it will take to convince them." That night, Eliza lay in bed, taut as a wire. Jonas came in slowly and lay on the edge of the bed, leaving space between them. "Good night," he said softly. She did not answer. Her heart beat so loudly it seemed he must hear it. Time passed. Jonas did not move. Eliza gradually relaxed. But sometime in the middle of the night, she woke. Jonas was breathing hard, his body shaking. "Jonas," she whispered. He did not answer. She touched his shoulder. He was burning. "Jonas." He jerked upright, eyes wide. "What? Where am I?" "You had a nightmare." He breathed heavily and ran a hand over his face. "I am sorry. I did not mean to frighten you." "What was the dream about?" He was silent, then said quietly, "About my father. He was beating me. Again. I tried to run, but I could not." Eliza, to her own surprise, took his hand. "You are here. You are safe." He looked at their hands, then at her. "Why are you doing this?" "Because you do not deserve to suffer. No one deserves to." Something changed in his gaze. He did not let go of her hand. They sat like that in the dark, and Eliza felt something new, not fear, not anger, but something warm, something dangerous. "Eliza," he whispered. "Yes. If we run, if you go to Luke, will you be happy?" She did not know the answer, because in that moment she was not thinking about Luke. She was thinking about Jonas, about his hand in hers, about the way his breath brushed her face. "I do not know," she whispered. He leaned closer, and she smelled his skin earth, wood, something deeply masculine. Her own breathing quickened. "Jonas, we cannot." But he did not pull back. His gaze slid over her face and settled on her mouth. Eliza felt something shiver inside her. something she had not felt with Luke. "Tell me to stop," he whispered. She should have said it. She should have pushed him away. But the words stuck in her throat, and when his lips touched hers carefully, gently, as if he were afraid to break her, she did not move away. The kiss was slow and cautious. His hand rose to her face, his thumb stroking her cheek. Eliza felt something melting inside her: anger, fear, everything that had kept her distant from him. Eliza did not sleep until dawn, thinking about what had happened. When the first rays of sun broke through the window, she heard footsteps on the porch. Jonas's mother. Jonas woke instantly and looked at Eliza. She nodded. He wrapped an arm around her waist and drew her closer for show. But his breath on the back of her neck was all too real. The door opened without a knock. Jonas's mother entered, her gaze going straight to the bedroom. She saw them together, and something like satisfaction flickered across her face. "Good," she said shortly. "Make breakfast, Eliza. A man needs to eat." When she left, Jonas let go of Eliza. They did not look at each other, but something new remained between them, unspoken, dangerous. The days after that night were strange. Jonas tried to keep his distance, but something had broken between them. Their eyes met more often. His hand lingered when he passed her a plate. Her breath caught when he walked too close. Eliza tried to think about Luke, but his face blurred in her memory. Instead, she saw Jonas, how he worked in the field, how sweat ran down his back, how he smiled when he thought she was not looking. One evening, as they sat at dinner, Jonas suddenly asked, "Do you regret it?" "Regret what?" "The night." Eliza froze with her fork in hand. "I do not know." "Then what do you feel?" She finally looked at him. "Fear." "What are you afraid of?" "That I have betrayed Luke, that I am betraying myself, that I feel something for you that I should not feel." Jonas set his fork down slowly. "And what is it that you feel?" She could not answer, because if she said it aloud, everything would change, and she was not ready for that. "Eliza," he said, reaching across the table to take her hand. "Tell me, please." "I feel that I want to stay," she breathed at last, "that I do not want to go to Luke, that I want to be here, with you." His fingers tightened around her hand. "Then stay." "But we agreed." To blazes with agreements. He stood, came around the table, and knelt before her. "Stay with me. We will run together, but we will be together. Not you to Luke, not me to the West. Together anywhere." Eliza looked at him, at his desperate eyes, at his hands trembling as they held hers. "Jonas, I cannot." "Why not?" "Because it is madness. We barely know each other. We married against our will. This cannot be real." "Then what is real?" His voice broke. "Love for a boy you have not seen in 3 years, dreams of freedom you have never known, or what is happening between us right now?" She did not know the answer. "I need time," she whispered. "Here is a full, professional American English translation, with every number written out in words and no abbreviations. We do not have time. In 2 weeks there is a fair. After that we will run, and you have to decide, are you coming with me or going to him?" He stood, walked out, and left her shattered. That night Eliza wrote a letter to Luke. She wrote about everything, about the marriage, about Jonas, about what she felt. She asked his forgiveness. She said she no longer knew what she wanted. But when the letter was finished, she did not send it. Instead, she burned it in a candle flame, watching the paper turn to ash. The next morning, Bishop Miller came to the house. His face was hard as stone. "Jonas, come out," he ordered. Jonas stepped out of the barn, saw his father, and froze. "What happened?" "I have been told that you are talking about running away." Eliza stepped onto the porch, her heart going still. Who could have told? Jonas clenched his jaw. "That is a lie." "Do not lie to me." The bishop stepped closer. "I searched your barn. I found a notebook. I read every word." Jonas went pale. "You had no right." "I am your father. I have not only the right, but the duty." The bishop raised his hand. and Jonas instinctively stepped back. "You have shamed me. You have shamed the community, and now you will repent." "No." "What did you say?" "I said no." Jonas straightened. "I will not repent for wanting to live, for wanting to be free, for wanting to be something more." The blow was sharp and powerful. Jonas fell to his knees, his face twisting with pain. Eliza screamed and lunged toward him, but the bishop stopped her with a look. "Do not interfere, woman. This is not your concern." "It is my concern. He is my husband. He is my son, and I will beat this sin out of him, even if I have to break every bone." The bishop bent down and grabbed Jonas by the collar. "You will stay here. You will forget about escape, and you will serve the Lord as I command. Is that clear?" Jonas looked at him, and there was something terrible in his eyes, hatred, pure and cold. "Go to hell." The bishop froze. Then he struck again. At last, the bishop stepped back, breathing hard. "You have 1 week," he said to Jonas. 1 week to repent. Otherwise, I will call the council, and you will be excommunicated. You will lose everything: your home, your land, your community, and her as well." He left, leaving Jonas on the ground, bloody and broken. Eliza knelt beside him and touched his face gently. "Jonas, we are running," he rasped. "Now, tonight. But we do not have a plan. To hell with a plan. If we do not run now, we will never run." She looked at him, at the desperation in his eyes, and she understood. He was right. They waited until nightfall. Jonas packed money, food, and a change of clothes. Eliza took her drawings and the letter from Luke. When the moon slipped behind the clouds, they left the house. Jonas hitched the horse to the wagon, and they rolled quietly out of the yard. No one stopped them. No one saw. But as they passed the church, Eliza turned back. She saw the house where she had grown up, the fields where she had run as a child, the cemetery where her grandmother and grandfather lay. "Do you regret this?" Jonas asked softly. "No," she answered, and it was the truth. They drove all night. By dawn, they reached Lancaster, the nearest big city. There Jonas sold the wagon and the horse and bought tickets for a bus to Philadelphia. On the bus, Eliza sat by the window, watching the world slide past. Everything felt so foreign: cars, traffic lights, people in jeans and bright colors. Jonas sat beside her, tense, his hand resting on hers. "Are you afraid?" she asked. "To death." "So am I." He squeezed her hand. "But we are together, and that matters." She looked at him. "Jonas, when we arrive in Philadelphia, I have to meet with Luke. I have to tell him the truth." His jaw tightened. "I know. And after that, I do not know what will happen after that. Then we will find out together." Philadelphia was huge, loud, and crowded. Eliza was lost in the throng, holding on to Jonas as her only anchor. They found a cheap hotel and rented a room, 1 room, because they did not have enough money for 2. The room was cramped: a bed, a chair, a small table. Jonas sat on the bed and lowered his head into his hands. "What have I done?" he whispered. "I left my father, the community, everything." Eliza sat down beside him. "You saved yourself. Or destroyed myself. I do not know, but you did what you had to do." He looked at her, and there was something vulnerable in his eyes. "Eliza, if you go to Luke, if you choose him, I will not stand in your way. But know this, I do not regret bringing you here. I do not regret us." She did not know what to say, because she did not regret it either. But Luke was waiting for her, and she had to find out whether what they felt had been real. The next morning, Eliza went to Luke. Jonas did not go with her. He said this had to be her choice, without his presence. Luke lived in a small apartment on the outskirts. When Eliza knocked, he opened almost at once. His face lit up. "Eliza, you came." He embraced her, and she caught his scent: cologne, coffee, the city. It was so different, so far from what she remembered. "Come in," he said, stepping back to let her inside. The apartment was small and cluttered. Empty bottles lay on the table. Clothes were strewn across the floor. Luke noticed her glance. "I am sorry about the mess. I did not expect you so soon." She sat on the couch. He sat beside her and took her hand. "I missed you so much," he said. "You cannot imagine how hard it was to wait." "Luke, I need to tell you something." His smile faded. "What?" I was married off to Jonas Miller." Luke's expression changed. "What? When?" "2 months ago. It was an arrangement by the elders. I could not refuse." He shot to his feet. "And you stayed with him 2 months?" "I had no choice." "There is always a choice." He turned to her, anger in his eyes. "You could have run. You could have come to me earlier." "I was afraid." "And now you are here. But not alone, right? He is with you." Eliza hesitated, and that was enough. "God, Eliza, did you sleep with him?" "That is none of your business." "It is my business. You were mine." "I was never yours," she stood. "You left 3 years ago, and you left me there. You promised to take me away, but you never came. You wrote letters, but you did nothing." Luke clenched his fists. "I was trying to build a life so I could give you something better. And I was trying to survive. And Jonas, he helped me. He ran with me. He risked everything. Because he is in love with you." Eliza fell silent. "Yes," she said at last, "and I am too." Luke recoiled as if she had struck him. "Then why did you come here?" "To tell you the truth. To say goodbye." He laughed bitter and cold. "Go, go to him. But do not expect me to wait if you change your mind." Eliza turned to the door, then looked back. "I loved you, Luke, but that was a long time ago. We both have changed, and I cannot live in the past." She left, and when the door closed behind her, she felt not pain, but relief. When Eliza returned to the hotel, Jonas sat on the bed staring at the wall. He turned when he saw her, and there was a question in his eyes. "No." He exhaled and shut his eyes. "God." Eliza came over and sat beside him. "I chose you." Jonas looked at her, and in his eyes was something she had never seen before: hope. "Why?" "Because you saw me, the real me, not who I was supposed to be, but who I am, and you accepted me as I am." His hand rose to her face, his thumb traced her cheek. "Eliza, I do not know how to do this, how to love someone. No one ever taught me." "Me neither, but we can learn, together." He drew her to him, and their lips met not carefully, as before, but desperately, hungrily. Eliza felt something melting inside her, something that had kept her restrained all her life. She pulled back, breathing hard. "Jonas, I do not know what to do." "I do not know either," he whispered, "but I want to be with you. Now, if you want that too." She nodded, and he kissed her again, lowering them both onto the bed. "I have never wanted anyone the way I want you." "Me too." He kissed her forehead. "We will do this right. I will find work. We will find a home. We will build a life." "Together," she added. "Together." The first months were hard. Jonas found work in construction backbreaking and exhausting, but it paid. Eliza worked in a small cafe, serving coffee and learning the English world. They rented a tiny apartment on the edge of Philadelphia. It was poor, but it was theirs. Eliza began to paint again, not in secret, but openly. Jonas bought her paints, canvases, everything he could afford. One evening he came home and found her at the easel. She was painting him Jonas, smiling, something she had never seen in the Amish community. "Is that me?" he asked, looking at the canvas. "Yes, the way I see you." He wrapped his arms around her from behind and rested his chin on her shoulder. "You make me better than I am. I paint you as you truly are, without masks." He kissed her temple. "I love you." It was the first time he had said it out loud. Eliza turned and looked at him. "I love you too." 3 years passed. Eliza stood by her booth at an arts fair in downtown Philadelphia. Her paintings drew people in landscapes, portraits, stories told in color. She had already sold 5 paintings that day. Jonas worked nearby, helping her hang new pieces. He had changed, his face was calmer, his smile came more often. He had grown a beard and wore jeans and a flannel shirt, but his eyes were the same, deep and devoted. They lived in a small house on the edge of town, had a garden, 2 cats, and plans for the future. Eliza was pregnant 3 months along. They had told no one yet, savoring the secret between them. "Someone is studying your paintings," Jonas said, nodding toward a man standing before her portrait. Eliza looked and froze. The man was Amish, older, with a gray beard and a black hat. He was looking at the portrait Jonas, the very one she had painted years before. Eliza stepped closer. "Do you like it?" The man turned. His face was familiar. "Deacon Fisher," she breathed. "Her father's uncle, an elder of the community." He nodded. "Eliza, you have changed." "Yes." He looked at the painting again. "Is that him?" "Yes." Her uncle was silent for a long time. "Your mother wanted me to find you. She asked me to tell you that she loves you, that she always will." Eliza felt tears rise. "And my father?" "Your father, he is not ready to forgive, but perhaps one day." Her uncle held out his hand and placed something in her palm. A small photograph, her mother, young and smiling. "She wanted you to have this, to remember where you came from." "Thank you," Eliza whispered. Her uncle nodded and turned to leave, then paused. "Eliza, are you happy?" She looked at Jonas, standing a short distance away, watching. She looked at her paintings, at the people around them, at the world that had become her home. "Yes, I am happy." Her uncle smiled barely, but sincerely. "Then I am glad for you." He walked away and disappeared into the crowd. That evening, when the fair was over, Eliza and Jonas sat on a bench in the park, watching the sun go down. She held the photo of her mother in her hands. "Do you want to go back?" Jonas asked softly. "No, but I want them to know that I have not forgotten them. Then we will write a letter." She smiled and rested her head on his shoulder. "We have come a long way." "Yes, and a longer way lies ahead. But we are together. Always." She took his hand and placed it on her belly. "We are going to have a child." Jonas went still, then slowly turned to her. "What?" "I am pregnant. 3 months." His eyes filled with tears. He drew her to him carefully, as if she were the most precious thing in the world. "We are going to be parents," he whispered, his voice shaking. "Yes, and our child will be free. She will choose her own life, her own future." Jonas kissed her, long and gentle, and that kiss held everything: gratitude, love, and a promise. When at last they drew apart, the sun was already sinking beyond the horizon, painting the sky in shades of red and gold. Eliza looked at it, and a new painting began to take shape in her mind, not sad or dark, but full of light. "I will paint us," she said, "our whole story. From that first day on the porch to this moment, I will show the world what it means to choose love over fear." Jonas smiled. "Then let us start at the end, with this moment, when we are happy." "No," she shook her head. "Let us start at the beginning, because without pain there would be no joy, without darkness there would be no light, and without our struggle there would be no us." He kissed her hand. "Then paint, tell our story. Let the world know that forbidden love is sometimes the only true kind." 5 years later, a small gallery in the heart of Philadelphia was packed. People stood before the paintings, read the captions, and listened to the artist speak. Eliza Miller, she now carried his last name, although they had never married, officially stood beside her largest canvas. It was a series of 10 paintings titled Forbidden Silence. Each one told a part of their story: the first meeting on the porch, the joyless wedding, the night of their first kiss, the escape under cover of darkness, the meeting with Luke, their first night together, the visit from Jonas's father, the birth of their daughter, and the last painting the three of them, a family standing on the threshold of a new home, looking toward the future. Is it autobiographical? A visitor asked. Eliza smiled. Yes, it is my story, our story. And where is your husband now? She turned, and her heart gave its familiar stir at the sight of him. Jonas stood by the door holding their daughter, little Anna, 4 years old, with his eyes and her curls. Anna grinned and waved at her mother. Jonas came over and kissed Eliza on the temple. Sorry, we are late. She did not want to put on her shoes. Eliza laughed and took their daughter into her arms. That is all right. You are right on time. Anna pointed at the family portrait. Mom, is that us? Yes, love. That is us. Why are you crying in those paintings? The little girl pointed at the earlier canvases. Eliza looked at Jonas, and he squeezed her hand. Because sometimes, to find happiness, you have to pass through pain. But it is worth it, always worth it. Anna nodded, though she probably did not fully understand. But one day she would. One day, when she was older, Eliza would tell her the whole story about the community, about forbidden love, about the choice between duty and freedom. For now she held her daughter, felt the warmth of her husband beside her, and looked at her paintings testament to what they had endured and who they had become. Somewhere far away, in a small Amish settlement, life went on as usual. Elders preached, families worked the fields, and young people married by arrangement. But Eliza Fisher and Jonas Miller were no longer among them. They had chosen a different path. Harder, more painful, but their own. And when that evening, after the gallery closed, they walked home, 3 of them, hand in hand, Eliza looked up at the starry sky and thought that somewhere, perhaps, her mother was looking at the same stars. And perhaps she was smiling, knowing that her daughter was happy. Jonas squeezed her hand. What are you thinking about? That we did it. We survived. We built a life. We did more, he said, stopping to face her. We proved that love is stronger than fear. That choice matters more than fate. That 2 people, even broken ones, can become whole together. Eliza kissed him long and gentle, ignoring the passers-by. I love you, Jonas Miller. And I love you, Eliza Miller. Anna laughed and wrapped her arms around both their legs. I love you too. They scooped her up, and she squealed as Jonas spun them both around. And in that moment, on the street corner, under the lights of a great city, 3 people, once 2 prisoners, now free, were completely, unreservedly happy, because they had chosen each other, again and again, every single day. And that was the only choice that mattered. Subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss out, because this is nothing compared with what comes next. If you are under 18, do not even think about clicking next.